Coming up on today's show, could the Baltimore Ravens make a trade for Khalil Mack of the Los Angeles Chargers? We will go over the latest Ravens trade rumors coming up in just a moment. Also, Rashod Bateman, he just signed a new deal with the Baltimore Ravens, but could the end already be near for Bateman? We have an interesting trade rumor to get to on Bateman coming up on today's show. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by here on the channel today. Quick survey for the flock out there. I want to know, are you a Ravens fan from the great U.S. of A? If you are, go ahead and like today's video. We love the Ravens. We love America around here on the channel. If not, if you are watching from elsewhere around the world, comment and let us know where you're checking in from, and we would love to show you some love wherever you may be watching from, whether it's in Canada, Mexico, Germany, Brazil. We got an international audience all over the place. We want to show you some love. Get in that comment section. Let us know where you're at, and we'll get started with today's show. Last Word on Sports is suggesting a potential trade for the Baltimore Ravens involving the Chargers edge rusher Khalil Mack. And this one certainly would move mountains for the Baltimore Ravens if they are able to bring in Khalil Mack. And Mack just got a reworked deal with the LA Chargers, so this would be a bit of a surprise. But nonetheless, let's hear out Last Word on Sports what they would have to say on this possibility. The Ravens are still looking for some edge help despite having one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Justin Madubuike had one of the best seasons in his career after effectively putting pressure on the quarterback. I would be surprised if the Chargers trade Khalil Mack, one of the best players at his position. I think he's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. The Chargers had every opportunity to move on from Khalil Mack this past offseason with the salary cap hell that team was in, a new head coach, an opportunity to reset, and they didn't do it. If he is on the market, if this is a real possibility for the Baltimore Ravens, I'll take him in a heartbeat. This could be the difference in the Ravens hoisting the Lombardi Trophy and them not. If you get Khalil Mack, my goodness, this could potentially change things for the Baltimore Ravens. And honestly, with the amount of money that Khalil Mack is taking in his contract right now, and with him being older now, not the spring chicken he was a couple years ago, this isn't going to cost you a ton. You're looking at giving up a fourth-round pick next year. Khalil Mack's going to be better than any player you find in the fourth round. I'll do that trade if the opportunity does present itself. The resume is phenomenal when it comes to Khalil Mack. Former Defensive Player of the Year, an 8-time Pro Bowler, part of the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team, and he hasn't slowed down at all. Was a Pro Bowler just as recently as last year, coming off one of the best seasons of his career. A resurgent year for Khalil Mack in 2023 when he had 17 sacks. Now, it is worth noting, of those 17 sacks, a lot of those came against bad competition. He kind of stat padded a bit, if you will. But 17 sacks is still 17 sacks, right? You look at the contract. Here's what you're potentially taking on here. 1 year, $19.2 million is what it would cost you to pay Khalil Mack. But here's where things get interesting, where I see a potential window of opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's fast forward to the trade deadline, when we expect the Baltimore Ravens to be right there in contention among the best in the National Football League. The Chargers remains to be seen. This season, I don't know about the Chargers. They very well could be a playoff team. They very well could fall off the wagon. But I think we'll have an idea by the trade deadline. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, that this season isn't going the way the Chargers want. Then we're talking where Khalil Mack has already been paid a decent amount of that $19 million, and I can better my defense and put him on a championship caliber team. Then Khalil Mack could be like, let's get off this sinking ship in LA. Now we're talking. So while I don't think it's likely right now for a trade for Khalil Mack, keep an eye on this when the trade deadline rolls around for a move for Khalil Mack. And we've seen the Ravens be aggressive at the deadline before. We saw with the Roquan Smith trade a couple years ago. Let's ask you guys, should the Ravens trade for Khalil Mack? If they get the opportunity to bring in Khalil Mack, should they jump on it? T for trade, P for pass. Way in the comments section, let us know what you think. Today's show sponsored by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose two of our players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less. Rebounds in basketball. Maybe it's home runs in baseball. Goals in hockey. You can mix and match different sports leagues. You can already look ahead to some action in the NFL this upcoming season. The NBA Finals starting on Thursday night between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. And I got a little trifecta here for you. This one's a freebie, right? Jason Tatum to have more than half a point. That's going to happen. Luka, we have less than 31.5 points. Celtics defense might be able to slow down Luka just enough. And then we got Kristaps Porzingis to have more than 2.5 three-pointers made. Let's say we put $20 down, all three of these hit. That turns into $100 on Prize Picks, folks. Play along with us. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first entry. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Play along on Prize Picks today. You'll be glad you did. All right, now let's get to the ridiculousness. Bleacher Report suggesting that the Ravens should shop wide receiver Rashod Bateman and upgrade the wide receiver position. Huh? Listen to this. Gary Davenport saying the following. If there's a team out there that buys into Bateman's talent and reasonable salary, about $5 million a year over the next 3 seasons, he could be used as a part of a deal that gives the Ravens an even better player at the position. Package Bateman with a pick and go get one of the bigger name receivers. Absolutely not. Hell no. Hell no. We are not moving on from Rashod Bateman. Now, I could have had a very different opinion about this a couple months ago. But now, with the contract that Bateman is on, this new deal that pays him $5 million a year for the next 3 years, he's untouchable. Why on earth would I consider trading Rashod Bateman at this point? I know Rashod Bateman has been a disappointment for being a former first-round pick, for being a guy that was thought of to be the number one receiver on this Ravens team at one point in time. You moved on from Marquise Brown because you were that confident in Rashod Bateman that he was going to step up. But I don't care if he gets 30 catches a season. I'll pay him $5 million for 30 catches. If he gets 50-plus, I'm feeling great about only paying him $5 million. He is untouchable at this point. Now, that doesn't mean that the Ravens still shouldn't shop and go look at wide receiver options, but I'm not doing it at the expense of losing Rashod Bateman. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and we'll explain why here in just a moment. Want to ask you guys first, should the Ravens trade Rashod Bateman? Why for yes, in for no? Way in that comment section. Tell me what you think. For continuing Ravens coverage, you got to subscribe to Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports, bringing you daily videos, news and rumors. Anytime there's breaking news, if they make a trade for, let's say, Khalil Mack, or if Rashod Bateman departs, we're going to make a video on the channel as quick as we can and talk about it. No one covers the Baltimore Ravens like we do here on the channel. Subscribe now for free. Lock us in, youtube.com/RavensTV. Invite all your friends. Make sure they are a part of what we're doing each and every day. youtube.com/RavensTV to subscribe now. Now, believe me, if it were up to me, I would go get another receiver to add to this Ravens wide receiver room. But with Bateman's situation, with that money, it's too good of a deal to simply just walk away from. 3 years, $15 million. That's it for Rashod Bateman. Only $5 million. Why would I walk away from that? You can have your cake and eat it too, if you will. You can keep Rashod Bateman around and still go get another receiver if you so choose to. There's no risk involved in keeping Rashod Bateman at this point at the $5 million rate. Now, when we were talking a couple of months back, when he was coming up on his final year of his contract and a prove-it year and all that, then that was a different story. But the fact that you've got this new deal that's not paying him a whole lot, there's no risk in keeping Rashod Bateman around for just $5 million. The resume, not great for Rashod Bateman, if we're going to be honest. All his career highs, for the most part, were his rookie season in 2021. He struggled to stay healthy, only playing in 34 games with 21 starts so far in his career. And last year, you might as well put him on a milk carton because he was missing for most of the season. Despite playing in 16 games, only had 32 catches for 367 yards, 1 touchdown, and 12 yards of reception. But all we've heard throughout OTAs, whether it was Mark Andrews, or Nate Wiggins, John Harbaugh, among others, they're all buying what Rashod Bateman's selling and believe that this is the year that he breaks out and steps up. The Ravens can keep Bateman and still trade for another receiver without giving up the depth to do so. Here is a couple of options that the Ravens could trade for with just giving up draft capital without having to give up Rashod Bateman in the process. The most notable is Courtland Sutton. And we've talked about Courtland Sutton a lot. The market for him seems to be somewhere between a 3rd and 4th round pick. Robert Woods is an option. Houston Texans bringing in Stephon Diggs. Already have Tank Dell, among others. That wide receiver room getting a little crowded. Might not be space for Robert Woods. Kansas City Chiefs aren't too happy with Sky Moore. Sky Moore has been a bit of a disappointment, to say the least, so far in his career. His price tag, not going to be too high, and the Chiefs limited on roster spots when it comes to their wide receiver room. They are looking potentially to move on from him. Darius Slayton with the New York Giants, a situation where he's not going to cost you a ton either. And then there's Alan Lazard, who wasn't too long ago was thought of as a very valuable asset in the Green Bay Packers offense. Down year last year, could be an opportunity potentially to snag him away. So with that said, I'm keeping Bateman, but I'm not closing the door on going to get another receiver in the process. Who's a wide receiver the Ravens should trade for? We gave out a few names there of some discount buys, if you will, that you might be able to find at your local Wawa. Who is the player that comes to mind? Weigh in the comment section and let us know what you think. If you enjoyed today's show, you know what to do. Hit that like button. We'd certainly appreciate it. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Ravens Rundown.